Could you imagine waking up one morning and picking up the local newspaper and seeing the headline, "A 5-year-old gives birth to a healthy baby boy"? The first thing you're going to think is, yeah, right, this is virtually impossible. How could a 5-year-old possibly even get pregnant, let alone carry a baby for 9 months? Considering the fact that the average age of the first menstruation in the United States is 12 and a half years old, it makes it seem virtually impossible. This statement seems so far-fetched that it would take many, I'm talking many, credible sources to make someone truly believe it. I decided to go to Snopes.com to find the perfect urban legend for my speech. I came upon the statement that read, "The youngest mother on record was a 5-year-old Peruvian girl." I knew that this statement had to be false, but according to them, it was true. I knew I had to find more information about this, so I clicked on it. As I was reading through, many things began to flood my mind. How is this physically possible? How could a child of only 5 years old conceive a child? It just did not make sense to me. So I continued reading. I found out that this bizarre incident occurred in 1939. According to Snopes.com, her name was Lina Medina, a Peruvian girl from Medina village of Chicopa who made medical history when she gave birth by cesarean section in May 1939 at the age of 5 years, 7 months, and 21 days. Could you imagine being the parents of this child? Her parents took her to the doctor thinking that Lina had an abdominal tumor. Much to their surprise, they found out that this tumor was not only a tumor, but it was a baby. If I was her mother, the first thing I'm going to think is, who did this to my child? And how is it possible? According to Snopes.com, Lena's father was temporarily jailed on suspicion of incest, but he was released for lack of evidence, and authorities were never able to determine who fathered Lena's child. Since the year was only 1939, medical technology was not very advanced. To the doctors in Peru who got Lena's case, this was a complete medical mystery. Lena was able to carry her baby for 9 months, and by cesarean section, she delivered a healthy baby boy. During the C-section, the doctors removed one of Lena's ovaries in order to study and determine how this bizarre incident had occurred. The doctors determined that Lena had ovaries of a fully mature woman at 5 years old. According to Amundo Escamel, who was one of Peru's preeminent physician researchers, he determined that the reason behind her precocious fertility could not lie in the ovaries themselves, but must have stemmed from extraordinary hormonal pituitary disorder. Could you imagine being this 5-year-old little girl as your stomach kept growing and growing and you started to experience all these weird symptoms and pains? At the age of 5, all I knew was babies and Barbies. I did not know how babies were made or where they even came from. The first thing I thought was, how was she faring psychologically? How could a 5-year-old actually understand that she was having a baby? According to Snopes.com, Lena was a psychologically normal child that displayed no other medical symptoms and that preferred playing with her dolls rather than her own child, which just does make sense, being that she was only 5 years old. Lena considered her son Gerardo a little brother, as well as the rest of the family. Her son did not know that the woman he thought was his sister, was only his mother until he was 10 years old. This whole incident seemed very rare to me and is still hard to understand. But because there were so many sources it helped me to believe that this statement was true. From now on, I know that the youngest girl ever to give birth to a child was 5 years old.